let's find out what's going on in the exciting world of planet Earth, shall we? Congress to President, you must sell us on Syria strike. Both Democratic and Republican members of Congress said last night that President Obama must do more to sell them and the American public on the idea that military action against Syria is a good idea. This came as members of Congress got an hour-and-a-half long briefing from military leaders. A White House statement said the view of members of Congress is important in the decision-making process. A document leaked by former NSA contractor Eric Snowden has revealed how much the United States government spends on intelligence. The budget for intelligence spending is more than $52 billion, with more than $14 billion going to the CIA. The documents also list what's missing from U.S. intelligence targeting. The United States has a difficult time targeting some things in Russia or China, but the most difficult nation to target in terms of both their nuclear program and politics was North Korea. And a sad story today, an 8-year-old Arizona boy and his 6-year-old sister snuck out of their house in the early morning hours yesterday and stole their mother's car. When the car crashed, the 6-year-old passenger was killed, her 8-year-old brother behind the wheel. Police were pursuing the children, thinking it was a kidnapping suspect, and the young boy seemed to understand basic driving rules before crashing into a pole. And that's a brief look at news headlines. We'll have more details on what's going on across the United States and the world in general in a few minutes with the CBS World News Roundup. Right now, though, we're going to take a quick gander at the weather forecast.
Winter weather warning right now. Here's a live look at the Fox 6 snow stick. This is out on the weather deck.
And we're going to start it off in the Midwest. And a strong late summer ridge of high pressure continues to cover the plains and Midwest. That will keep things hot and humid through at least tomorrow. After Saturday, the high pressure system breaks down and shifts more into the southwest part of the country, allowing cooler air to return for the latter half of Labor Day weekend. Temperatures will generally run 10 to 15 degrees above normal, with a few records possible for today. Highs will mostly be in the 90s, with some spotty 100-plus degree readings in Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas. Slightly less hot 80s are forecast across the upper Midwest. Substantial cooling is finally in sight by Sunday and Monday as a cold front sweeps through the region. Highs behind that front will be 15 to 30 degrees cooler Sunday into early next week. A strong disturbance riding the northern periphery of the hot ridge triggers scattered showers and thunderstorms across parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, northern Illinois, into eastern Iowa for Friday. And a few thunderstorms could turn strong to severe with large hail and damaging winds. The main threats, the threat of a severe storm, as well as across northern and central Dakota, could occur later today. Out west, a tropical flow from the eastern Pacific continues to keep things unsettled with heavy downpours for the southwest today. Showers and thunderstorms are likely today over parts of southeast California, southern Nevada, much of Arizona, southern Utah, and southwest Colorado. Flash flooding is possible in and near any heavy downpours. Highs today across the desert southwest should hold well below 100 degrees with clouds, rain, and very humid air. Much of the interior west will see highs in the 90s. Highs only in the 70s across western Washington and northwest Oregon. High temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s along the coast. Off into the northeast, most of the region will see dry weather today to start the Labor Day weekend. Showers and storms may increase for northern New York into northern Vermont and New Hampshire late tonight. Today's highs in the 80s from western New York, southeastward into the mid-Atlantic region. Highs mainly in the 70s over much of eastern New York and New England. The chance for showers and thunderstorms will be increased tomorrow, especially from Pennsylvania northward. And the threat for scattered thunderstorms will continue Sunday over much of the region. Warm and humid conditions remain throughout Labor Day before cooler air returns mid to late next week. Finally, in the south, hot, dry conditions are expected over a large portion of the region today. A weak backdoor frontal boundary will produce a few showers and thunderstorms from southern South Carolina through southern Georgia into northern Florida. A stray shower or thunderstorm cannot be ruled out from eastern Alabama through northern Georgia to the southern Appalachians Friday. Highs today will reach into the 90s for much of Alabama, Mississippi, eastern Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast, and 100 to 105 degree readings through Arkansas, Oklahoma, western Louisiana, and Texas. Today's highs mainly in the 80s from Virginia through the northern half of Georgia. And that, my friends, is a brief look at the weather forecast, courtesy of the Weather Channel, where you can get more weather information all the time at weather.com. That's weather.com. It is as simple as that. And now it's time for another popular feature of the program, a little segment I like to call Celebrity Birthdays. And by the way, if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. And there is the birthday music open. So let's play it, shall we?
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you? Other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
Bones, I don't want to be lectured.
Ooh, yeah. Very, very many happy reasons.
And again, as I said, if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. And you happen to share it with these famous people. Let me pop that down just a little bit loud on my headphones. That's a little better. And we'll restart that. Trust me, doing all these sound effects and music is a whole lot more work than reading this list, because it is a short list. Comedian Louis Black is 65 today. And actor Michael Chiklis, Emmy and Golden Globe for The Shield, is 50. Cameron Diaz is 41. Wow. Very nice. She doesn't look a day over 30, in my opinion. And finally, tennis player Andy Roddick turns 31. And those are the celebrity birthdays for today. I'll tell you, while the music is playing, that's some funky Jamaican beat there, don't you think? I like that. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't continue to make it my music for the birthday segment. And I think I forgot today in history. Let's see. I'll check the system real quick, because we're going to have today in history here in just a moment from the Associated Press, assuming that I uploaded it. And I did. I just forgot to put it in my playlist over here. So we'll click on Add, close that page, and then put it over here in the deck one. And it's ready. And I'll tell you this. On this date in 1979, August 30th, 1979, President Carter, remember him, Jimmy, I Love Peanuts Carter, was attacked by a rabbit on a canoe trip in Plains, Georgia. And it was immediately wrestled to the ground by 6 Secret Servicemen and subsequently arrested. That happened on this date in 1979, that is. It's time now for the rest of Today in History. With overmodulated levels from the Associated Press, we switch things over to the AP for this quick history lesson.
August 30th, 1862. During the American Civil War, the Second Battle of Bull Run ends in Manassas, Virginia. Union forces are defeated by the Confederates on the site of the war's first major clash the previous year. 1967. In Washington, the Senate confirms Thurgood Marshall as the first black justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. Years later, Marshall tells students at his alma mater, Howard University, not to rest upon past civil rights achievements.
You can't stand still. You must move. And if you don't move, they will run over you.
1983. Guyon Bluford Jr. becomes the first black astronaut in space, blasting off aboard Space Shuttle Challenger. 1797. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, the novelist who created the horror story Frankenstein, is born in London. 1905. Baseball's Ty Cobb makes his Major League debut with the Detroit Tigers. He hits a double in his first at-bat in a game against the New York Highlanders. The Tigers win 5-3. And 1993.
If you think about it, all I really did was take the summer off.
Completing his move from NBC, talk show host David Letterman debuts on CBS with his Late Show. Today in history, August 30th. Camille Bohannon, The Associated Press.
Wow, Letterman has been on CBS television for 20 years. I remember at the time, I told a friend of mine, naively, of course, that I didn't think he would last a year. That I thought The Tonight Show, the reputation of The Tonight Show would carry on even with Jay Leno. Boy, was I wrong. It looks like Letterman's going to outdo Leno on The Tonight Show after all. Of course, if you consider the fiasco a few years ago when Leno stepped down briefly and took that primetime spot and O'Brien took his place, it's already happened before and it'll happen again. Well, enough of my ramblings. Let's continue on with the show, shall we? Because originally I was going to do this. Back in Studio 26 on this Friday morning, 30th day of August, 2013. And coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have news from the CBS World News Desk, right after a look at market information from the great state of New York City and around the country and around the world. And yesterday I forgot to play the intro for this segment, so we'll do that right now in proper fashion, as it were. Because music beds make things go a whole lot easier, don't you think? At least I think so. Anyway, here's what's going on in the world of markets. Positive news about the United States economy outweighed worries about Syria yesterday, sending the stock market higher for a second straight day. And I'll pull that down just a little bit more. Thank you very much. Boy, I wish I had a real engineer in here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 16 points, closing at 14,840, while the S&P 500 rose 3.2 points to 1,638. The NASDAQ Composite posted a bigger gain, rising 27 points to 3,620. The Dow Jones Industrials gained 64 points over the past 2 days, not nearly enough to make up for its 170-point loss Tuesday as tensions over Syria rattled markets. Traders had two good economic reports to parse through yesterday. U.S. economy is still too loud for my liking, so we'll pull that down just a bit more. There we go. That's a little better. As I said, traders had two good economic reports to parse through yesterday. The U.S. economy grew at 2.5% annual rate from April through June, much faster than previously estimated. The Labor Department said the number of people who filed for unemployment benefits last week fell to 331,000, the fewest in 5 years. And that's a brief summary of the market information. And with more details about what's going on in the world of economics, we now switch things over to American Public Radio on this Friday morning.
This Marketplace podcast is supported by Mozy Cloud Backup. Protect your critical files with maximum security from Mozy Cloud Backup and securely access them anywhere, including your smartphone or tablet. Visit mozy.com to learn more.
Time to consider a global economic tsunami.
Marketplace Morning Report is produced in association with the University of Southern California.
From APM in New York, I'm David Brancaccio with the global perspective on business and economics. Here's a prediction. When the economic history of the decade is someday written, there will be a whole chapter about spring to summer 2013, when the money which had been pouring into emerging market countries shifted the other way. With two of the biggies, Brazil and India, reporting their economic growth figures today, we thought we'd check in with our friend in London, Andrew Walker, the BBC's economics correspondent. Andrew, good to hear your voice.
Good to talk to you.
Mr. Walker, the capital flowed into emerging markets when interest rates dropped so low in the U.S. and Europe during and after the 2008